Hello, everyone. I'm Peggy Ann Bloomer from Central Connecticut State University, and I'm delighted to share the story of our new multimedia major, a program that unites design, music, communication, and journalism into one cohesive creative ecosystem. It's a humanities program that adopts engineering and business frameworks, the CDIO model from MIT, and the NACE career readiness competencies to prepare career-ready creatives for an evolving media world. This tagline summarizes the spirit of when engineering processes meet humanistic imagination. Traditionally, the humanities have been idea-driven but sometimes disconnected from applied skills. By contrast, engineering and business education emphasize workflow, accountability, and outcomes. Our program bridges these worlds. We use CDIO to structure creative learning, how students conceive, design, implement, and operate their ideas, and NACE to define what readiness looks like: communication, leadership, ethics, and professionalism. The goal is to help students develop both critical insight and practical fluency to become creative technologists who can design, lead, and adapt. We're living in a post-digital world where the boundaries between media, art, and technology are fluid. Employers no longer hire just graphic designers or journalists. They hire creative technologists, people who can tell meaningful stories through sound, motion, data, and interaction. The multimedia major responds to that reality through interdisciplinary project-based learning that mirrors the collaborative structure of modern studios and creative agencies. The major consists of 54 credits built on a liberal arts foundation. Students begin with 5 foundational courses: design, film, mass media, journalism, and music technology, 3 of which also fulfill general education. They then take 24 core credits in upper-level courses such as typography, audio production, motion graphics, and media literacy. Finally, they choose 18 elective credits, allowing depth within a pathway or breadth across disciplines. The structure supports CCSU's Strategic Plan 2030, preparing graduates to thrive in a changing economy through creativity, equity, and community engagement. After completing the course sequence, students move into one of 4 evolving pathways of practice. Each pathway represents a different constellation of tools, techniques, and critical perspectives, a way of making and thinking through media. Students can specialize in one area or weave experiences across several, depending on their interests and career goals. 1. Emerging technology in multimedia. This pathway explores frontier technologies shaping creative production: AI, AR/VR, machine learning, 3D design, and interactive environments. Students experiment with spatial storytelling, generative systems, and ethical design for intelligent media. Courses like DES 425, 3D and AR/VR for design, and PHIL 245, computer ethics, frame technology as both tool and worldview. The goal is to cultivate critical technologists, artists and designers who question how emerging systems reshape perception, authorship, and agency. 2. Data visualization in multimedia. Here, students transform complex information into narrative insight. They merge journalism, design, and computation to create interactive graphics, visual essays, and story-driven dashboards. Courses include JRN 387, Data Journalism and Visualization, and DES 465, Visualizing Data Narratives. Students learn to analyze, structure, and visualize data ethically, using design to make systems of knowledge transparent and inclusive. This pathway prepares graduates for roles in information design, digital storytelling, and research communication. 3. Motion graphics and human-centric design for multimedia. This pathway focuses on time-based communication and user experience. Students engage with typography and motion, UX/UI systems, screen typography, and interaction design. Courses like DES 301, Digital Storytelling Through Time-Based Motion Graphics, and DES 328, UX/UI, teach how movement, rhythm, and interface design shape comprehension and emotion. Students not only design visuals, they design experiences, grounded in accessibility and empathy. It's where storytelling meets systems thinking. 4. Video and music for multimedia. This is the most cinematic and sonic pathway, combining film production, editing, audio engineering, and scoring. Students learn the full workflow: scripting, shooting, mixing, and post-production, while also understanding media ethics and audience reception. Courses like COMM 328, Digital Film Production 1, and MUS 228, Audio Mixing and Processing, emphasize collaboration between filmmakers, sound designers, and composers. Projects often become cross-media performances, short films, or immersive installations. The pathway trains students as complete storytellers, fluent in sight, sound, and meaning. Together, these four pathways integrate technical mastery with reflective practice. Students don't just learn to use tools, they learn to question how tools shape knowledge, creativity, and culture. By graduation, they've moved from making media to understanding its impact, the central aim of a post-digital career-ready education. All students complete a one-credit college to career readiness course in their final year. This course helps them translate their creative work into professional language. They build portfolios, develop resumes, practice interviews, and assess their growth through the NACE self-evaluation. It's the hinge between coursework and career, a guided reflection that turns experience into direction. The program concludes with two distinct capstone trajectories, each designed to synthesize creative practice, professional experience, and reflective inquiry. Career-based internship/central design practicum. In this option, students step fully into professional contexts, either through an external internship or by joining Central Design, our on-campus creative studio that collaborates with community and university partners. They work with real clients and learn to manage budgets, schedules, and creative deliverables from concept to completion. Depending on their concentration, students enroll in courses that simulate real-world media environments where students hold defined roles: creative director, producer, designer, editor, or sound engineer, and must communicate across disciplines. Projects range from documentary shorts and brand identities to podcasts, data visualizations, and multimedia installations. Through this immersive experience, students practice leadership, teamwork, and accountability, learning to navigate the complexities of creative production while upholding professional ethics and community responsibility. The portfolio-based independent study capstone. The second trajectory allows students to conceive, design, and implement an original creative or research-based project. In an independent study, students are guided by a faculty mentor. They begin by writing a formal proposal, identifying an audience, purpose, and method, and move through iterative stages of production, critique, and refinement. Final projects might take the form of short films, immersive AR/VR experiences, interactive data stories, or original music and sound compositions. Each project culminates in a public showcase, exhibition, or presentation, transforming operation into civic engagement, an opportunity to share their work with peers, professionals, and the community. Both trajectories embody the CDIO learning cycle and the NACE competencies. They emphasize self-direction, ethical reflection, leadership, communication, and technological fluency. Whether students enter the workforce immediately or pursue graduate study, they leave with a portfolio and a process, evidence that they can not only create, but also manage, evaluate, and sustain their creative practice in the world. Community partnerships are central to the program. Students collaborate with local media, nonprofits, and artists on projects that serve real audiences: podcasts, XR installations, data stories, and digital exhibitions. These collaborations embody Central's Strategic Plan 2030 commitment to civic engagement and workforce development, ensuring that learning benefits both students and communities. CDIO stands for Conceive, Design, Implement, Operate. It was developed at MIT to give engineering students a full project life cycle, and we've adapted it for creative production. For us, it's a poetic process, from conception and research to design and collaboration to implementation in media form, and finally to operation, launching, evaluating, and reflecting on impact. It teaches students that creativity is a system, not just a spark. The National Association of Colleges and Employers defines 8 competencies that employers value most: career and self-development, communication, critical thinking, equity and inclusion, leadership, professionalism, teamwork, and technology. We embed these across every course in capstone. They make employability visible. Students can articulate not only what they created, but which competencies they mastered along the way. If CDIO defines how students learn, NACE defines who they become. CDIO provides the architecture, a 4-phase cycle of conceive, design, implement, and operate that structures creative learning as a continuous act of iteration and reflection. NACE supplies the dimensions of character and competency: communication, critical thinking, leadership, equity, professionalism, teamwork, and technological fluency. When we overlay these 2 systems, we can imagine 2 concentric circles. The inner circle, CDIO, represents process and production, the rhythm of making and refining ideas. The outer circle, NACE, traces identity and growth, showing how learners develop the habits, ethics, and collaborative capacities that sustain professional life. As projects move through each CDIO phase, students simultaneously advance around the NACE ring, building not just skill, but professional disposition and ethical awareness. This integration transforms creative education into a career readiness design cycle. It ensures that every act of conception is informed by reflection, every design decision is connected to communication and inclusion, every implementation builds leadership and accountability, and every operation extends into civic and lifelong learning. In this way, the CDIO plus NACE model aligns creative process with personal formation, uniting what students make with who they become as professionals and citizens. Here's how it looks in practice. Conceive. Define a real-world problem and identify its relevance in social, cultural, or ethical contexts. Students learn to connect creative inquiry with responsibility, developing projects that respond to authentic community or industry needs. Design. Storyboard, prototype, test, and iterate collaboratively. In this phase, students practice design thinking, visual communication, and teamwork, learning to translate abstract ideas into tangible forms through creative experimentation. Implement, produce, manage, and lead with professionalism and accountability. Students take on active roles as project managers and creators, balancing timelines, budgets, and client expectations while maintaining design integrity and ethical standards. Operate, launch, share, and assess the work's impact on audiences and accessibility. Reflection and critique guide improvement, and students learn to measure success not only through outcomes, but through inclusivity, sustainability, and user experience. Each stage aligns with corresponding NACE competencies, translating creative practice into career readiness. The result is a full cycle framework where students grow as both thinkers and professionals, able to imagine, make, and lead with purpose. Implementing this model required extensive teamwork and collaboration across disciplines. Over the course of a semester, the faculty from 4 departments engaged in sustained conversations, listening to one another's perspectives, clarifying disciplinary priorities, and identifying what lies at the heart of each major. Together, they developed shared rubrics for assessing creativity, communication, and professionalism, establishing a common language of learning outcomes that now unites design, media, and technology programs. We also partnered with IT services and the Dean's Office to strengthen the infrastructure supporting hands-on, high-impact learning. The resulting facilities now serve as creative incubators where students explore emerging tools, AR/VR, motion graphics, data visualization, and interactive media, while gaining experience managing real-world workflows and collaborating with clients and community partners. Perhaps the most transformative change was cultural. We reframed the arts as engines of applied innovation, showing how creative practice can fuel research, entrepreneurship, and civic engagement. This shift embodies CCSU's mission as a regional university grounded in access, inclusion, and the public good, empowering our students not only as designers and storytellers, but as active contributors to a more connected, equitable, and imaginative society. The program will begin on a small scale, but interest and enthusiasm are already growing among both students and faculty. We plan to expand this momentum through outreach to regional high schools and community colleges, building a strong pipeline of future participants. The early indicators are promising. We expect students to demonstrate higher levels of collaboration, technical fluency, and creative confidence. Graduates will be well prepared to pursue careers in design studios, newsrooms, music tech firms, and marketing agencies. Faculty are already developing deeper interdisciplinary connections that strengthen both teaching and research. Most importantly, students will come to see themselves not only as creatives, but as active contributors to social and cultural innovation, ready to shape the evolving landscape of design and media with purpose and integrity. We are currently mapping student participation in internal and external partnerships, using Pulse software to ensure that every student experiences the full design cycle from conception to operation and receives formal recognition for this work on their transcript. We also plan to integrate NACE self-assessments into the advising process to help students reflect on their growth and articulate transferable skills. At the same time, we are expanding industry and community partnerships to create authentic, operate experiences, internships, client projects, and public showcases where students can apply their learning in real-world contexts. The structure is highly scalable and adaptable. It offers a model that other programs in the humanities and social sciences can use to connect creative inquiry with career preparation, fostering a university-wide culture of integrative learning that bridges imagination, ethics, and professional readiness. In closing, this multimedia major is one of the first humanities programs to integrate CDIO and NACE as parallel frameworks. It transforms creative production into a structured path of employability, reflection, and innovation. Exactly what Central's Strategic Plan 2030 envisions for a student success-centered university. And I'll end with a thought from Ralph Waldo Emerson. Nothing can bring you peace but yourself. In our program, peace means alignment, when thought, making, and meaning connect. Thank you for sharing this time with me. If you'd like to see the full syllabus, prompts, or project rubrics, please reach out at bloomerp@ccsu.edu.